Hey y'all, guess what? We're back at it again. You know who it is. It's Fourth in Fantasy, your fantasy playbook to Dynasty wins. My name is Hancho, and this is my guy.
Siriaco in the streets, they call me Rocco.
And I don't know if y'all can tell. I don't know if you can tell, but if you're looking in this right hand corner, you're not seeing that Fourth and Fantasy logo no more. You're seeing that. Hold on. This is the big announcement we've been talking about for several videos now. This is a episode being brought to you by our new partnership with Fast Draft. And man, first off, when we first got this conversation or just the discussion just of this partnership between us and Fast Draft, which is a relative new fantasy platform out there. We was very humble. We were very, because once again, we're still fairly new in this space of content creating, and and this also in fantasy world in general. No, not fantasy world, but just creating content for the fantasy world. So when Fast Draft came to us and just pitched the idea of partnering with us and starting this wonderful collaboration, we said hell yeah, no, just because they're, and I've been on the platform, it's super fun, and speaking with Fast Draft in general, great folks over there, and really represent the brand and fantasy football love that we also have over here in Fourth to Fantasy. But nevertheless, man, tonight's episode is brought to you by Fast Draft, the fastest best ball game out there. If you love fantasy sports, you got to try this out. They've got rookie only tournaments. They help you track player ownership, and they're giving away cash prizes, baby. Who don't love manyan? Who don't like a little money in your wallet, in your little pocket? You know what I'm saying? You need to get yourself, if you like competing, if you like fantasy sports, you need to take yourself on the Fast Draft. The QR code is in the left hand corner, and go get your game on. That being said, actually, before we even in yes, while you're on Fast Draft, you do get a very much added bonus when you use our promo code. Excuse me. Get started on Fast Draft, and it's even quicker when you use our Fourth in Fantasy code. You can either use fourth or you can spell out fourth. Whatever you feel like doing, baby. And Fast Draft will double your first deposit up to $50. Make sure to get that full $50 and to max out that number of free drafts you can run. Again, that's Fast Draft on the App Store or Google Play Store, and our promo code is FOURTH or FOURTH. But nevertheless, man, it's episode 49. We're coming at it. Actually, this is a wonderful episode because, Rocco, what wonderful news do you have on your end that you got over the weekend, baby?
Woo! Yes! 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 Derek Carr, get the fuck out of my city.
Rocco said you need to get the fuck up out of New Orleans. Big news, big news, big news. Derek Carr has retired from the NFL after 11 seasons due to the shoulder injury that came up relatively well to the public about a few couple months ago. But it seems like the injury actually was sustained last season. I don't know. It's been, if you're talking to a New Orleans Saints fan, they're over here. I've seen nothing but rejoicing. I've seen nothing but people marching through the streets, playing the tambourines. They out here. They're going to the bank, pulling out wads of cash. They're
Second
going to the
line.
casino. they hitting them lottos because they feel good. They feel it in their body. They're happy that Derek Carr is no longer their starting quarterback. They're ripping off the band-aid and they're moving on to a new, I guess you would want to say a new era, whether it's a Spencer Rattler, a Tyler Shough, or the third guy you have, Pretty Boy Hayner. Is that how you say his last name?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It ain't gonna be Hayner,
Mm.
but
Ain't gonna be Hayner. It ain't gonna be Hayner.
my boy is
How?
nice and zesty. He takes a real good photo, but he plays quarterback quite terribly. So he is not gonna he is not gonna get on the field. Um, honestly, Hayner and Rattler were terrible last year. They had terrible circumstances. To me, this job is Tyler Shough's to win or lose. Um, the injury history is concerning. The seventh year breakout is concerning. He does have, for a guy that played, 7 years in college, his numbers weren't too bad last year. He was fifth in passing and offensive grade at quarterback. A 23-6 TD to interception ratio, nearly 3,200 yards, 62 completion percentage. So wasn't all bad.
I
But
mean,
really, I think we're just kind of whoever the quarterback is this year, they're keeping the seat warm for the 26 quarterback class.
for that person next year,
Yeah, yeah, that's what
you
it
think
is.
so? Listen.
That's what it is. The only thing, the only way the Saints could fuck this up really
Hmm.
bad,
Hmm.
and I mean really, really bad, is if they sign Aaron fucking Rodgers. I'm turning in my Saints card. That's it. That is the straw that broke the camel's back. I'm
That be the
out
one
of
that
here.
take you out. That be the one that take you out.
I'm not even gonna be a fan of a real football team. I'm just gonna be a fan of my fantasy teams. I mean, they never let me down anyway, like the Saints do.
Well, you know what, Rocco, and I do want to take a time and a moment actually for everyone or anybody who went out their way in these startup drafts before all this mayhem started, and you were like, know what, I could wait on selecting a QB2 because know what, Derek Carr is going to be there to be selected in round 12 or round 14 or wherever round that Derek Carr was going up in startups just to hear he's going to retire. A lot of y'all are out of a QB2 right now, and if he was your if if he was your QB1, you're definitely fucked. I'm telling.
Oh man, y'all fucking assholes took Derek Carr. Y'all should, yeah, y'all let that. It was funny is I just seen somebody draft him in, I don't know, I'm not looking at it at maybe like the
Yeah.
12th round in a
Mhm.
startup we have going on right now. And as soon as that draft ends, maybe in
Mhm.
a couple weeks, he's gonna have to drop his 12th round pick right onto the streets because Derek Carr is done.
He's
No
done.
more.
It's finita, and I do want people to give a little bit of respect on Derek Carr. He did have some good serviceable years actually with the Raiders. I want to say with the Raiders, not with the Saints, right? If we're talking about his time with the Saints, it was a little up and down, but he did have some really good years with the Raiders, and I say he can hang his. He was never. I would say he was never really. Even that's kind of hard. I say maybe he was considered in that top 10 for about 2, 3 years of his career, but his time with the Saints, I think, honestly, for a city, it was just time for y'all to move on to something else. Just rip off the band-aid, start the rebuild if there is if you even would consider this a rebuild. But nevertheless, I'm looking at these numbers, right? Now we need to move on from Derek Carr because now that he's retiring, we're going to be looking at Spencer Rattler and Tyler Shough. I see audience, y'all chat, whoever y'all want to, whoever, how you refer to yourself, right? Me and Rocco go back and forth. He thinks Spencer Rattler is a loader, you know what, whether, and I'm trying to save Spencer. I'm trying to grab him from the fire that Rocco keeps trying to put him in, and I'm trying to say he's better than Given, right? I think yes, he did go 0-6 last year, but context wise, what did y'all have as an offense to help him
We
out?
didn't
And
have
you
nothing.
not a now nothing, not a
He didn't
now
have no
nothing,
blocking. He didn't have no
now
receivers.
nothing.
He he had Jawan Johnson.
I'm telling you.
We already talked about Jawan Johnson and his incredible contract. The contract of Jawan Johnson. He's not even a person. He's been whittled down to the contract of Jawan Johnson.
I'm
And
trying to tell you.
Bub Memes. He had
And
some
Lord, yeah, some
plumbers and some accountants he was throwing to.
it wasn't good. It wasn't a sexy offense. So he was going out there trying to win it. And he actually, I feel like he had a pretty fun week 18 outing going out there. And I felt like y'all almost won it, but it wasn't towards the end. But nevertheless, if we're talking about Spencer Rattler, who even as a prospect, I felt pretty good at him, or felt pretty good about Spencer, and was pretty excited when I saw him get drafted by the Saints because I was like, okay, he's going to a landing spot where I think Derek Carr is going to be done in the NFL in 1 or 2 years. Was spot on that motherfucker. So let's just get that out the way. And then two, he can. I think one of the people who spoke highly of Rattler coming in was Kellen Moore when he got the job and saying Spencer Rattler could be very much somebody that they could build on and believe in if the opportunity was set right for himself. Now, I don't think y'all offense has gotten much better since the end of last season. Y'all are getting Alvin Kamara back. You have Devin Neal, who I think will outplay Kendre Miller, uh, and then you are getting Chris Olave back. So you are getting a few pieces in there for Spencer Rattler to work with, but nevertheless, it's kind of the same one that's going back out there. I am going to take the hot take. I believe Spencer Rattler is going to beat out Tyler Shough. Tyler Shough does have the draft capital behind him, being selected in the second round. That does matter. Teams just don't go out and waste a second rounder unless you're the stupid ass Saints and think I'm going to spend a second on a backup. But now, what if that happens, Rocco? What if sure, y'all spent a second round draft capital, which is considered high, a day two pick on a backup. How would that make you feel?
We gave up two firsts for the rights to draft Marcus Davenport. We live this life. We live this wasted pick
He
life.
said, "We do all this."
Yeah. We used to this. We used to wasted picks, so it wouldn't surprise me at all. I
Mm,
mean, even if he's a starter this year, he's more than likely a backup in 2026.
mm.
So what happens this year doesn't matter at all, honestly, unless he comes out guns blazing and we win games like a significant amount of games,
Yeah.
then you know then he maybe survives to 2026. But I just don't see the path for him to win a bunch of games and to be the 2026 starting quarterback. I don't see the path for Spencer. I don't see a path for anybody that could possibly come to the Saints being the 2026 starter. If that team doesn't draft a franchise quarterback in 2026, um, it's just
All
gonna
hell might break
be
loose.
it's just gonna be more of the same. I mean, this
Pandemonium.
this could be a decade of shit. Because there's still one piece there, part of that um, Derek Carr, Dennis Allen, that triumvirate of three fuck
Hmm.
ups, and it's Mickey Loomis. So as long as he's still there, there's still a chance that he's gonna try to make a splash and get Aaron Rodgers,
Mm.
Kirk Cousins,
I can see Kirk
which
Cousins.
would be really weird because we
Mm.
hate the Falcons, but you know, that's the kind of bullshit that could happen.
I think the Falcons just want to get his ass up out of there, though. You know what I mean? They just don't want to also bite the bullet of having to pay. So I think him being just on the roster now, they're having to pay
Yeah,
some moolah for him.
yeah, I
So
think you got a point there. There's no way the Saints can afford to trade for him. So yeah, it would have to be a cut, which I'm surprised they haven't cut him yet.
mm,
I think they just what's probably going to happen with Kirk Cousins is they're going to have to pay somebody a draft pick to absorb that salary cap. A team that's that sucks that's not using very much of their salary cap. So that may happen before the season, and then he gets cut, out of that. But
mm,
no, I would rather let one of these young quarterbacks give them a shot. And if they surprise,
I
they
agree.
win games. It's fucking found money. It really is because you don't generally find long-term starting quarterbacks in the second round. So, or Spencer Rattler, who was what, a fourth round pick.
I
You
believe
don't
he was a fourth. Yeah,
you don't find starting quarterbacks very often. I mean, Dak Prescott came from there. Tom Brady was a late round pick,
he was a fifth.
and I believe
Yes,
Russell Wilson was as well. But those are exceptions to the case. So, um, all things, you know, I think everything points to a 2026 Nussmeier, Arch Manning,
mm.
Lenore Sellers. There's a lot.
Lenore Sellers. That
There's
sounds
a
like a New
lot of
Orleans.
there's a
Yeah,
lot of fun names, and I just picked him up on my Devy league. He's funny. He wears like these goggles,
yeah. It's
so
Eric Dickerson
yeah,
Jones.
yeah. So
Yeah,
it makes me think like he's not a real player. Like I don't know
but
if
he
my starting
balls.
quarterback, but
He a
that dude
baller.
is that dude is 6'3", 240. I don't know if it's a fake 240 like Davian Martinez, but
Mm.
I just picked him up in a Devy league, so he's got me kind of excited. So he could be the Saints starting quarterback in 2026. But I think the point of all of this is I don't think
Mm.
the future of the Saints starting quarterback is currently on this roster.
We playing these. Listen, if y'all don't hear that mariachi in the back, boy, that's how hype we was up. That's how hype we was about this episode. First off, to talk
So
about
hype.
fast draft, and then for Rocco to even celebrate the demise of Derek Carr being out of New Orleans.
Hey,
Now,
I
could I
wish
ask
that guy. I wish that guy had nothing but positivity in the future. He brought a lot of
for sure?
negativity to my team, but I wish him positively. I hope he heals righteously. He enjoys the rest of his life outside of New Orleans. Don't ever set foot in my city again, please. Get
Rocco
out.
said, "Don't." He said, "Don't step your
You
ass back up
lost.
on that fit."
You lost all your LA privileges.
No, here before we start getting kind of into Spencer Rattler and what I mean when we in our next segment is we're going to be looking at one Spencer Rattler coming out as a prospect, and we're going to compare that to Tyler Shough coming out as a prospect, and how this all could play out in the QB room, as we were showing a little bit earlier of the 2025 depth chart for the New Orleans Saints. It currently had Tyler Shough as the starter, but from what we hear from Kellen Moore, he's going to let these guys battle it out all throughout the offseason. Rocco, I have a question for you, my man. And I feel like this is going to be very much hand in hand as his career plays out. If Shador Sanders balls out, we have seen nothing but, and we'll get that's another segment for this episode as well that we'll be getting into. If Shador Sanders balls out when y'all could have selected him, how's that going to make you feel?
I mean, what can I do? I came right here on this very here podcast saying Shador Sanders should be our first round pick, much less our second
He
round
did.
pick, our third
Y'all go watch
round
that.
pick, our fourth round pick, our fifth
Yeah.
round pick. I said that screaming to the rooftop. I think we even waxed poetic about this with our guy Debro about
Hmm.
Shador Sanders could be the future face of this franchise, but
Yeah.
for whatever reason that man was blackballed by the NFL, and it took a phone call from the Cleveland Browns owner for that guy to get drafted at all. So, um, yeah, I mean, I wish the best of luck to him, but uh, it just wasn't in the cards for us. I don't think very highly of Tyler Shough, but maybe he can surprise me. But I would have loved to see Shador Sanders here. I think he would have definitely gave the team and the city some swag. He would
Some
have been
swagger.
he would have been the face. He would have been the face of our franchise. But we're moving in a different direction, and if that different direction leads us to Arch Manning being our number one in 2026, then it's a fucking win.
All right, last question, and then we'll get into these PFF grades. Now, it's a two-part question. Spencer Rattler wins out the QB battle. How many wins does the Saints have?
Uh, 4,
Tyler Shough wins out the QB battle. How many wins does the Saints have?
4.
He said, "Fuck it, we're still fucked." He's he said, "Either way, we still fucked, baby. There's no way around it."
Like
I
there is a little bit of chance if the offensive line comes together because the Saints have spent a good amount of money on the offensive line and running this team through Alvin Kamara and Devin Neal
mm,
and maybe a short passing attack. But the defense is getting old, really old in spots. And the offensive line is definitely not solidified. I don't feel 100% confident that the line will be that much better than the awful line play that we saw last year. So,
mm,
both sides of the both sides of the line, I have a lot of questions, and that's how you win football games. So, and this team needs to lose games because we need Arch Manning. So that is my wish. I don't want to be the best 6-win team in the league. That ain't doing me nothing.
mm. This man said, "I'm just trying to tank, baby." Now
Tank, you gotta tank. You gotta do it right. Don't half-ass tank.
he said, "Don't be the." He said, "Don't." Who was the team that messed up? The team that messed up the. I think it was the Patriots that messed themselves up from getting Travis Hunter because they kept winning. Just thought that shit was hilarious.
That is bullshit.
Now let's look at Tyler Shough. This is PFF. We're gonna be looking at some of his passing grades here. If y'all can't tell, this motherfucker was in school for a long time. He did 2 years at Oregon. Boy had some shit ass grades, not looking sexy. Then we get to 2021. He spent 3 years at Texas Tech. Looks like that boy kept tearing shit up because that's ain't no way. Look, we get first off, first year 60 passing grade. Second sophomore 57.5 passing grade. His junior year 73. His senior year 67.8. His super senior year 57.9 passing grade. And then his literally super senior year. This motherfucker damn near should be working at Amazon at this point. Louisville, he has an 87.7 passing grade, which was cool. He had 23 passing touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 3,000. I still feel like that's kind of relatively low, but
Mhm.
maybe no, I'm being a little too skeptical on him, but 3,191 passing yards. He had a big time throw percentage of 5.1, which is okay. And then when we're looking at some of these other stats, right? It's okay. Like his I don't get the hype of him being a second round quarterback. He was never when I was looking at my QB rankings, I only did an official wide receiver and
Mhm.
running back rankings. But if you had asked me, I would have went Cam Ward, Shador Sanders,
Mhm.
Jackson Dart, Jalen Mulroy, and then we can start getting into. I probably would have even went Will Howard. Then I would have went Tyler Shough. But seeing I one I think we've heard throughout up leading to the draft that some teams were feeling higher on Tyler Shough and really thought of him as a starting quarterback. If I can find if I can find the clip of him throwing an absolute horrible pass on Twitter, and Rocco, if you know, that's why you laugh, and you know exactly which one I'm talking about. That look,
Yeah, but one pass doesn't make a career, does it?
you know, it doesn't, but it make a good joke though. And I'm on your ass today, Tyler. I am on that ass. But nevertheless, his overall profile doesn't scream upside. I feel like at this very point, you're going to get what you're going to get out of him. He's damn near, looks like, yeah, he'll be 26 by the time the start of the season comes around. When we're thinking about, and I guess the QB position has a little bit of different factors to it because those guys can play well into their late 30s if they have a healthy career. Tyler Shough hasn't displayed not a goddamn thing that he can have a healthy career without getting hurt. There's a reason why he spent the last several years in school because he kept having not career, but season-ending injuries. So
um,
go ahead.
yeah, I'm pulling up something here.
Mhm.
I think this is what got him basically drafted. That 40-yard dash right there.
And
So it was,
I mean, like he's sick, and
yeah,
once again,
it's a
He's 6'5". Like he's 6'5". He's 200 something pounds. He runs
89
a decent
percentile, 40
right. He
yard
runs a
dash,
decent 40.
67 percentile burst score. But the problem is, when he's running so fast, he's getting banged up, and that's why he missed so many games in college, by evidenced by his 4 games in 2019, 7, 4, 7, 5. Then he finally had a healthy game and a healthy season in 2024, but it's not very inspiring.
Can you bring up his counterpart on player if they have Spencer Rattler's profile on there still?
Yeah, yeah, I can do that. I think the other signal that Tyler Shough has is
Mm,
he had a pretty good adjusted completion percentage according to PFF, and
fuck
that's a
him.
that's another stat I look for. But whew, yeah, Spencer Rattler's generationally bad out there.
Hold on, man. Hold on. I'm
This
because
is
yeah, I'm gonna need you to you over here throwing strays, man. Hold
Oh
on.
man,
You can't be talking about my
look
guy
how
like that.
low these look how
But look at the
25th
comp though.
percentile
Look at the comp though. Look at the comp though. Baker
25th
Mayfield.
percentile 40
Baker
third percent.
Mayfield.
Oh man.
Don't do my dude like that.
And
He's
then
being comp to Baker Mayfield, one of them dogs.
he
If
don't
Baker
have
Mayfield's
he
a
don't have a
dog,
he don't have a starting caliber hairline.
yeah, I mean, his barber pushed him back a few times. That's what it looked like.
He
He
got the top back.
he got a professional pushback right there. Now, if we're looking at his overall PFF grade as well, which I am going to bring up for Yao, let's look at these sexy numbers real quick, and I'll make it a little bigger. His profile looks so much better than what I think Tyler Shough looks like. First off, we get in his sophomore year at Oklahoma, 28 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Yes, he basically threw for like the same basically the same passing yards. But look at these grades: a 92.5. He had a he had big time throw percentage of 9.4. And then we even go.
But what happened in those subsequent years? He
Hold on, whoa,
kind
whoa,
of
whoa,
like
whoa, whoa, hold on,
he
brother.
topped
Hold on,
out.
no, hold on, brother. You don't, I don't. We don't need this. We don't need all that negativity out here, brother. First off, we don't need all that. We don't need that. We don't need that hateration
I,
in
what
this
I
dancery. You
what you
feel me?
showing me is regression.
Listen.
He's supposed to build on those years, not fall off.
Well, context wise, 2021, who does he end up getting replaced by? Caleb Williams, Mr. Generational himself. And then he goes over to South Carolina. Can we say South Carolina was really a great offense before Spencer Rattler got over there? I don't think so. I don't think they're even worth talking about before Spencer Rattler got over there. But nevertheless, I think if you're asking me to choose between a Tyler Shough or a Spencer Rattler, or who do I think has just the work ethic, like backstory or even context wise, you know how many people thought Tua was better than Jalen Hurts when they both were at Alabama? Jalen Hurts ended up getting benched for Tua. Now, how many people would say that Jalen Hurts is better than Tua? Almost everybody would say that at this point. To be fair, Tua's Mr. Concussion Boy, and that's one of the things that is held a little bit over him. But I think it's the same thing applies with Spencer Rattler and Tyler Shough. I think where Tua, if I'm remembering correctly, Tua had to be like a first rounder.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think honestly, I want Spencer Rattler to win this position, to win the quarterback battle. One, because I have so many shares of Spencer Rattler, I think it would do wonderful for my fantasy purposes, and also, I think it would be good just for the overall landscape. There might have been, I think, where there might be people that have a shitload ton of Spencer Rattler. There might be people that have a shitload ton of Tyler Shough, just depending on which way they're leaning. I'm telling you to go get yourself some Spencer Rattler shares right now because I think he wins this one. Now, that is to be said, he's not going to have the longest leash. So he could very much get benched. That's very much in the tea leaves. So I will put that as a note. If you come back to this video and you say, fuck you, Honcho, you told me to trade for his ass. And I'm going to tell you right now, disclaimer, if he shit goes left, he's getting benched.
Man,
Flat
I,
out.
I think the conversation or the discussion between the decision between Spencer Rattler and Tyler Shough, the and who should be the starting quarterback, the answer is no.
Yeah. Always
No.
know we're going to wait till 2026 until
No,
we're.
no to both of them. Let's lose some games. Let's get this money, guys.
And
Let's get these draft
remember,
picks.
this episode is brought to you by Fast Draft, the best, the up and coming riser in fantasy sports. Is actually a pretty fun platform. I've been on there myself. We actually will have a couple shorts and also incorporate a few clips in future videos of us using the platform. But nevertheless, it is the best or fastest best ball game out there if you just like fantasy sports. You get to get your ass on there. I'm on there, he on there, she on there, we on there, all the pronouns. We all on there. So let's get out, visit Fast Draft, get yourself in the game, get immersed. Right now we're actually they have a couple of new features out there that they're starting to roll out here for the summer session, and they were almost to that fall. Maybe get used to get used to the platform, trying to see one first off if you're the fastest drafter in these, and we're going to talk more about fast drafts in these next coming videos. But once again, super happy of the partnership, super excited for the partnership, for us to grow, to see them grow. And it's just going to be a wonderful partnership for the neverless future to continue.
Promo
But
codes fourth or fourth.
fourth or fourth or four that damn Wendy's took away. Um, but let's talk about kind of what I was a little bit excited about all weekend because it seemed like we were getting a good bit of data, a good bit of information around the league of these rookies. Why is that? Because some teams, a good majority of teams, were having their rookie mini camps. I know some teams actually done away with rookie mini camps and they just have the veterans and the rookies all just coming together and just call it one mini camp. But we got some good nuggets, Rocco. We got a little bit of drama spewing up. And when I'm talking about a little drama, I'm talking about once again what we spoke about before with the shit ass Saints and not picking the right quarterback. Shador Sanders has been putting belt to ass, and I don't want to make too much hype around rookie mini camps because once again, it's a rookie mini camp, right? There's only so much I say you could put. There's only so much you could put behind it, but he was out there throwing some dimes, man. He was out there putting, and he was showing why he was the most accurate quarterback in this whole QB class. There was so much talk about his arm talent. There was so much talk about him not being as good as he was hyping himself to be. Nevertheless, I only saw a composed, and I think also he's handled this whole process fairly well of how just basically how far he dropped. Sounds like he's coming out of this as very humble. He's just ready to work. He doesn't want it given to him, and he's ready just to basically win over the whole QB position, especially with another quarterback that was drafted, a round or two round, or either a round or two rounds ahead of him.
Gabriel's in the third.
Yeah, yeah. So in the third, so two rounds ahead of him, which if I don't know about you, Rocco, but I don't have Dylan Gabriel nowhere close to Shador Sanders. And once again, Shador Sanders was my QB1. I think he ends up winning this QB position, but also it's going to be good for the Cleveland Browns. I think fantasy wise, we're going to see if they want to roll with the big dog, Joe Flacco, and really just try to see what they have there. But
Mm-hmm.
I think Shador Sanders once again, it's rookie mini camp. Don't want to throw too many eggs in the basket, but the anticipation we've seen from Shador Sanders and just the overall throws has looked really good from him. Not to say Dylan Gabriel hasn't had his moments of looking decent as well or good as well. I just think Shador has done it more consistent over the last past weekend from what I saw. But and I think also if we're looking at the whole grand scheme of things, I think Shador Sanders is one of the better processors of the whole QB class. What if you have seen some of the clips over this past weekend from Shador? What are some of your thoughts?
Um, I mean, everybody looks good in shorts, so
That's true.
I don't put a whole bunch of stock in how he's looking.
Mm,
Just throwing the ball or 7-on-7s. We don't really know until the pads come on. Um,
mm.
I mean, a few years ago, people were talking about um, Jamar Chase dropping passes and
That was a
you know
thing. That
in,
shit was wild.
in shorts. Like he's not the best receiver in the whole damn league.
Y'all
Um,
motherfuckers lucky I don't come looking for receipts.
yeah, so it's cool to see people on the field, but you gotta take it with a grain of salt. I
Mm,
think the most likely thing that happens is Joe Flacco starts the season as the starting quarterback, and it'll probably be his job to lose.
mm.
But they are the Browns, so he probably
Yeah,
will lose it at some point. Um,
that's the
but
Browns.
but they got a little bit more excitement than they've had in recent
Agree.
years. They picked up two really nice running backs
Oh yeah,
to kind
that
of
was cool to
complement
see.
the defense they have in place already.
Hmm.
Um, they drafted a defensive tackle, which it's a fucking defensive tackle, but he should add to that already elite defense. They had added Howard Fannin in the draft to pair up with Njoku, so now you got some really nice tight end play there.
Mm.
You got the running game, and you got Joe Flacco. So I can see that team starting out as a very conservative team, relying on the run game and defense.
Oh, for sure.
And if anything, if that team's starts off slow at all, at some point they're going to be looking to get one of these rookies in there, and whoever's playing the best in practice, whoever's playing the best in preseason, whoever they feel has the best chance to win games is going to get in there. So
Mhm.
I think people will be clamoring for one of these rookies to get in there by midseason.
Another story for rookie mini camps, and I guess he's been catching a few steam. He has a hive behind him now. Our boy Max dropped 52 fab dollars on him by mistake. Mr. Joe Horn, Carolina Panthers wide receiver. He's been doing from his interviews. He's been winning over the hearts of fans, and he has a little bit of juice, I will say. And if we're talking about a previous Carolina legend, Mr. Steve Smith himself, he started as a kick returner that ended up becoming more of a, I wouldn't even say ended up becoming more of a receiver. He was always a receiver, but he got his basically his shine first from kick returning, which it looks like Joe Horn is going to be doing with the Carolina Panthers. I think he can end up having a good role there, and then ends up, Adam Thielen isn't going to be playing forever. I think he has another year or two to left to play, and maybe with that last year, it might not even be with Carolina. That you compare him with a Xavier Leggett, you compare him with a T Mac, and he could be that slot for you. Speed is something that you can't teach. That's something that you either got or you don't, and that's something that Joe Horn for sure has. I'm not going to
You
put
mean
too
Jimmy
much.
Horn? Not
I
Joe
had to think
Horn,
about.
former Saints great, huh? Are they
You're
related?
right. I'm messing up. It is Joe Horn.
Joe
It is Jimmy Horn.
Joe Joe Horn had the
You're
infamous
right.
cell phone celebration where he
I
uh,
was,
he made a phone call. He had the phone tucked into the upright, and after he scored a touchdown, I think he called his wife or his kid or something. They fined the shit out of him, but
Joe
that was.
Horn, the New Orleans great.
Hmm. I don't think
Yeah,
they're
he's
related though.
no, he's not. No, not at all. And I'm messing up. It's just his name is Jimmy Horn. Joe Horn only has one son, and that's J.C. Horn on the once again Carolina Panthers. So yes, I think Jimmy Horn. Nevertheless, he
They're getting
I
all
like
horned up
what
in Carolina.
horned that baby, but I think I like what he's been. The little clips I've seen, he has some juice. Another guy that's been talked about that has some juice, Rocco, Arian Smith, the New York Jets wide receiver from Georgia. He's a speedster, and the head coach has came out multiple times and talked about the juice that he brings. And if we're looking at the New York Jets and their overall wide receiver room, who do they really have besides Garrett Wilson? You got to think you got to hope for a breakout or a year two jump from Malachi Corley, but you can't throw your whole eggs in the basket on it.
Hmm.
I think Arian Smith has the opportunity to come in and maybe solidify himself as that wide receiver too in the offense. They also did draft Mason Taylor, who I think, and also has been, they spoke about being heavily involved into the offense as well. I don't think he has much competition when it comes to that starting tight end spot. I think he will be the starter.
Hmm.
So if we're talking about the pecking order, you're going to have your wide receiver one, obviously, Garrett Wilson, and then it's a toss up for that second progression, whether it's going to be Malachi Corley, whether it's going to be Mason Taylor, whether that's a Arian Smith. They're going to
Brees
have to
Hall.
figure that one out. Or Brees Hall. He can get back to the limelight of his receptions. I think a lot of y'all would be happy for that if
I would
Brees
too.
Hall, yeah, Brees Hall ended up getting back to the overall reception or target haul that he was getting about 2 or 3 years ago. It would be good for fantasy. So there's,
The problem with that team is I don't see Fields supporting more than Garrett Wilson and maybe the tight end.
mm, I think it's. it's a lot. If we're talking about an offense, you want it to turn it all the way around. Once again, it's I don't think it's hard when you have an Aaron Rodgers that everybody fucking hates. You have to think about it this way. Garrett Wilson was so done with playing with Aaron Rodgers that he was asking for a trade if they brought his ass back. That's how you know. That's when you know when a quarterback's bad. He said, either trade me or don't sign this motherfucker back. Those are your options.
I think he'd rather play with Derek Carr at that point.
I'm telling you. So,
No,
I,
fucking Aaron Rodgers is just so smug. He just seems like the worst person to play with, and he fucking throws everybody under a bus.
there's some other rookies, and it really depends on how much you're going to be following these guys. Shoot, the Patriots had their rookie mini camp. Kyle Williams looked good. Heard a little bit of noise about our boy Efton Chisholm. He has a really good, actually a really good percentage or probability of making the 53 man roster. Heard about Lane Lawrenson. He's he's showing out. If you're talking about the Raiders, we get our first look at Ashton Genty, which also solidified my absolute joy of being able to select them in several leagues, and that I'm happy that I got a share.
See,
Have you got a share yet, Rocco?
I got 3 shares.
Oh yeah, I was about to
I
say
had a couple number 1 picks and a Debbie share.
you can't be yeah, I was gonna say you can't be if you're somebody who out there who hasn't yet
You
got an
got him in a
Ashton Genty
startup, huh?
share. Oh yeah, got him in a startup. I got him in several rookie drafts, and
Oh,
that's the ones.
really? I
Yeah,
didn't know
several, but
you had number 1 pick.
not me because I'm too good. But when you take over orphan teams,
Ah, I see what you're saying.
you know what I'm saying, you luck into that. You know what I'm saying? You luck into that. You know, I don't know. I don't. First of all, I need y'all to never. I will never have a team that would have a 1-on-1. Just
I
straight
will.
off the bat, that I draft
I will.
on
If I if
purpose.
if I on purposely rebuild that motherfucker.
No, 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 no. It's not. If I purposely am rebuilding, yes, I will never suck. My team will never be as bad to be 1-on-1 off
Yeah,
of a. Go ahead.
so you're never gonna be forced to do one of those last place losers.
Mm, mm-mm.
I saw a guy. They made him go to the bar and he had to drink his way out, and I'm like, man, that dude
Not
could
happening.
die. That dude
Not
could fucking
happening.
die. Like you got 24 hours, and every shot you take is an hour off, and every beer you drink is a half an hour off. You could
No,
literally fucking croak over being bad at fantasy football. It could actually happen to you.
we should also highlight the number 2 overall pick to Travis Hunter. He had a little bit of delay to his rookie minicamp experience because he was attending actually his graduation at the
Mm.
University of Colorado. Shout out to you, Mr. Travis Hunter, and you know getting your degree. He ended up showing up to Jacksonville, and if you haven't heard yet, he's going to be primarily focusing on being a receiver, and I absolutely love that for fantasy. But Cohen said earlier in the week that he will start to gravitate towards defense starting next week, learn the defense. But let's get it straight. He is a wide receiver that is talented enough to go out there and play cornerback. I don't think he's a cornerback that is talented enough to play receiver, if that makes sense. So I think that he's going to get his burn. Yes, he's going to have a few snaps on defense for sure. But his primarily focus is going to be on the offense and making that offense one of the
Mm.
top 10 in the NFL with Brian Thomas. You got to, and you as the former or number 1 overall pick, Lawrence. Depends on how you feel about ETN. Depends how you feel about Tank Bisbee, Bashaw Tootin. That's another guy who could end up being one of the better buys in fantasy. And then, so I still like Dynami Brown as a slot guy. And then you got Brenton Strange. He's shown glimpses of what he's able to do. If Liam Cohen can come in here as a play caller and really bring it all together, skies up. We can see. I don't think Travis Hunter wins Rookie of the Year just because I'm almost penciling up. I'm damn near, hear me out, Rocco. I'm damn near 99.8976% sure Ashton Genty's going to be the Offensive Player of the Year. It's almost set up for him to be a rookie Offensive Player of the Year. But I would have, if Ashton Genty wasn't in this draft, I would give Travis Hunter probably the number one spot of being Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely could happen. I wonder if he'll get enough snaps to on offense to to take home that award. And there's some other guys that there's some candidates that are in good situations. You got Roa McMillan, who's going to walk right in there and be their number one wide receiver,
Mm.
and a bevy of running backs that could fight for that award. But um, Travis Hunter will have, he will have the narrative. He will be the story of the 2025 season and how he performs because he's such a unique unicorn that all eyes will be on that guy. And if he puts up a pretty damn good rookie season and he's able to stay healthy and he plays a lot of offense,
Mm.
sky's the limit for him. I mean, you already said that you believe that he's going to get 1,000 yards in year one, and
Yep.
that's very well possible. And it's not just the yards; it's I think he has the makings of a prolific touchdown scores because of his movement skills and his hands.
Mm.
Can be thrown to him in a variety of different situations. So, sky's the limit for that guy. Yeah, but I mean, Genty's gonna win it. Genty is gonna get so many touches. Like he could legit push to be the RB1 in his rookie year because that's the kind of touch volume he's gonna get. Because the
Mm.
guys that are in front of him, they have clear backups or clear guys that will command some touches.
Yep.
With Tyler Algier and
I think
and
Mozart
David
would get
Montgomery.
his touches, but it's not gonna be like Algier though. Yeah, it's not gonna be like Algier. It's not gonna be like those other RB2s on other teams.
No, he's a classic change of pace back. He's going to be the
Mm.
speed back. They're going to try to get him into space, maybe create some catching opportunities out of the backfield. But I mean, make no mistake, Ashton Genty is going to get 15 plus touches and probably 3 to 5 catches every game. So he's going to be heavily involved in. There's no reason for him not to be pushing for the RB1 as soon as his rookie year, to be honest with you.
Now, one last question on rookie minicamps, and not really even a question. It's something that I would like you to kind of just go into a deeper dive for the audience themselves, because we spoke about him a few times, and that's Cam Scatterbo. And also, a couple of your good folk have talked very highly of him. He was selected by the New York Giants, if you didn't know, and he's going to be competing with Tyrone Tracy and also Devin Singletary. I think Devin Singletary ends up getting cut sometime throughout training camp because why not? You got two young guys, goes with some two. One, I think both are better than him in the receiving game, and then I think that both could very well be better than him as a runner at this stage of his career. So talk about Cam Scatterbo. I'm still somebody who still believes Tracy will have a role in this offense
Mm-hmm.
and who thinks they're trying to kind of reinvent the wheel of the Ahmad Bradshaw and the uh, Brandon Jacobs uh, type of uh, kind of years back in the day. Back in the day, I say, like it wasn't my like 10 years, more over 10 years, 15 years ago. Cam Scatterbo, how are you feeling about him in fantasy? I know some of the folks have even talked about selecting him at like the 108, the 109 in that area.
Hmm.
What? How do you feel about him?
Yeah, well, um, my guy, who we're gonna get him on the show pretty
For
soon here.
sure. Yeah.
Who he is just like his he uncovers these guys like just guys that we don't even know, like sleepers. He was all in on like Cooper Cup. Last year, Bo Nix was his QB1.
Mhm.
Just Super Bowl takes that hit more often than not.
Mhm.
And he has a process, and he goes by his board. And he took Cam Scatterboo at number 8. He was telling me he's got a surprise up his sleeve, and I was
That's a surprise
surprised.
for you for sure.
Yeah, I mean, like for what he lacks in, like I will say, like he had the 2.2, so I kind of feel that he could have got Caleb Johnson and Scatterboo at 202.
Yeah.
But he's that guy is convicted, and I mean, PFF basically says the same. I mean, this guy was the second rated guy in run grade. He was the
Yeah.
second rated guy in offensive grade. Um, he was second in missed forced tackles. I mean, the guy put up
Just
1,700 yards last year, 21 fucking touchdowns.
and you
Um,
got everything about some of the experiences or performance that he had. We got to think about the one of the college one of the college football games that he had where he had a rushing touchdown, he had
mhm.
a passing touchdown, and he had a receiving touchdown in the same game.
But get
Not
this.
just several. Go ahead.
But get this. Also fifth amongst running backs qualified attempts, fifth in receiving grade.
Mm.
So I mean, this guy can literally do it all. I mean,
Yes, he can.
I'm not sure about the Brandon Jacobs. Maybe the archetype, but Brandon Jacobs was like 6'3".
Oh yeah, not
This
the yeah
guy's
yeah not
like
the
this
yeah yeah
guy's
yeah.
like this guy's like small but stout. He's just uh, like a little bowling ball,
Mm.
like a little the thing, kind of,
Yeah. I like
with
a
but with limb pliability, like you like you were
like a
saying with
ram. You know what I
Angelo
mean?
the other day. But yeah, I mean, he's got the opportunity to kind of just take that fucking running back job by the nuts because they wanted to give it to Tracy because they knew Singletary sucks. So they
Mm.
wanted to give it to Tracy, but he had some really bad fumbles. One in Europe that pretty much. I mean, I think after that, the team knew that they were going to have to get another guy, and I think he'll still have a role, but that role is not going to be starting quarterback. I think what they're going to do is they're going to try to get creative ways to give him touches where he can get some chunk plays.
Hmm.
He's a former receiver, so that team lacks a little receiver depth. So he could definitely, start out in the backfield and then, kind of move out, motion out to the slot. They can do some different things to use him as a chess piece, but don't get it twisted. Scatterboo is going to be, the workhorse for this team. You know, he's he's built he's built like a workhorse. He can handle the carries and he can catch the ball out of the backfield. He's probably even a better receiver than Tyrone Tracy, who's a former receiver. So, um, yeah, yeah.
Oh, hold the fuck on. First off,
Fifth, fifth in the
hold
nation in
the
receiving
fuck
grade
on.
last year.
Hold the fuck on.
Hey, if
Okay, I'm
Tyrone
gonna.
Tracy was a good receiver, he'd still be playing receiver.
You right, but and I don't want to. And that's okay. Okay, I'm gonna see you don't fucked up. Now I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna take that point. If see Tyrone Tracy's only been playing the running back position for going on 2 years or so. So if we think about it, he's already shown that he can play in the NFL at a position that he's only been playing for 2 years, and Cam Scatterbo's been playing that position for his whole life. What's not to say Tracy can't have a better year two in the NFL than he did last year, besides the fumbles?
It's gonna be hard because he ain't gonna get the same work that he got last year.
That is true. But I mean, and especially
I
if
mean,
they
he'll
keep
have a
all
he'll have a
three.
chance to shine, but I mean, let's be real with the NFL is today. It's unlikely that either of them are going to get all the way workforce touches, and even even if even if Tracy got 30% of the load, he can get some chunk plays, and that could have some value. Cam Scadaboo's not going to get 80% of the
No,
touches,
no,
um, but 65% Scadaboo with 3 to 5 catches a game. That's a pretty damn good running back.
I agree. I have to agree with that one, and I do think where I'm not going to say that I've been selecting Cam in the first round because I haven't, but if I'm
I don't have the
at the
balls to. Yeah,
I don't. Yeah, I don't have the nuts. I can't do it. I can't waste it. There's other guys that I like in that area, but
203 smash.
yeah, I can say I have selected them at that 201. I can say I have selected them at the 202, the 203, where that's those are the areas I feel comfortable in. But that 108, I don't know. You gotta you gotta be
The the
real committed.
the problem is I've been in enough leagues to where I know he's not gonna go before 202, 203.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I feel like I can get me a stud at 8, and then if I have the pick in the early second, I feel like I can also get Scatterboo. So now I got stud A and Scatterboo because of the way the ADP falls.
Hell yeah. And that is the last bit of mini camp. There was so much more mini camp news that came out there, but I'm gonna leave that for y'all to go deep dive into as we all were trying to get the little bits of information out there. And I just want to say one more time that honestly, because at this point we're just so ecstatic just to keep saying it. This episode was brought to you, episode 49 was brought to you by Fast Draft, the fastest best ball game out there. And all my fantasy sport lovers need to go out there, tap in with y'all boys, tap in with Fast Draft, get on there, see how quickly you can draft, see what players that you have ownership on, and what your portfolio look like. I'm gonna be on there. He gonna be on there. She gonna be on there. So we all need to be on there. Man, this has been really a good episode, Rocco. I can't lie to you, boy. This is fun to do. We're going
Promo code fourth.
yes, promo code fourth. Once again, if you know, were in the middle of the video, it was at the beginning of the video. You will receive with one of our promos, whether it's fourth or fourth. Fast Drafts will double your first deposit up to $50. And to get the full $50 and to max out the number of free drafts you can run, go ahead and hit that Google Play Store. Go ahead and hit that App Store. Download. If you look in that left hand corner over there, that's the QR code to the website for Fast Draft. And y'all need to get used to seeing that logo in the right hand corner because it's going to be there for hopefully the life and relationship of Fourth and Fantasy here. But my name is Honcho. This is my guy.
Rocco.
This is Fourth and Fantasy, your fantasy playbook to Dynasty wins. And we got a lot more in store for y'all.
Nailed it.
Hit them promo codes, baby. Until next time, share, like, subscribe, support the channel, join the Discord. We out here. Hope y'all have a good rest of your night. Till next time.